another very famous man, Willie Nelson, who I had on the show recently, who I absolutely loved. And this is what he had to say about you, Mr. Lion. Do you take a lot of it now?
I think some people have more tolerance, for smoking pot than others. And I know people who can take one hit and just go to sleep completely. And other guys that can smoke a lot. Me and Snoop smoke a lot. And in every country we've been in, I guess. I was in Amsterdam one time, and Snoop called me and wanted me to sing on his record. And I said, okay. He said, where are you? And I said, I'm in Amsterdam. So we caught the next plane and come over. And we recorded a song together.
You and Snoop go to Amsterdam, the mecca of dope, really, and you both have a load of it and then write some music together.
Now we can go to Colorado.
Do it again.
Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world.
You're listening to Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling.
A martini, shaken, not stirred.
Don't try and church it up, son.
You can't handle the truth.
I am big. The picture that got small.
Your first one's on us.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling. I'm your host, Mark Riccadonna, and with me, as always,
Richie Byrne.
Richie, it is good to see you. Happy 420, buddy.
Happy 420, my friend, you connoisseur.
How are you today?
I'm good. It was a good weekend. Did you have a good weekend?
Yes, I did. I imbibed a little too much.
Did you?
Yeah, we had a delivery at the house. Look at this puppy.
Oh, what is that?
Stateside vodka.
Nice.
Distilled right in Philadelphia. We had it dropped off by.
Nice.
It was very nice. I got a lot of them. So
that's great. Sounds like
them.
a good thing. Is that what you're drinking, or what do you got there? I forgot to grab my. Nah, you do it. Look at this. The man's ready. Ready for 420. I was going to have a fake blunt, and I forgot. I forgot to grab it.
And I also got this one in case I want to switch it up a little.
I'm off to a rousing start here with 420.
So, yeah, I thought it would be fun if we opened up the show with a little Willie Nelson, some Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, in honor of 420.
Yeah.
Two big potheads. Now, I was in a dressing room next to Snoop Dogg once.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I have never been that high in my life, brother. And I was getting, when you're getting a contact high through the wall, that's some good shit.
I couldn't even imagine what Willie Nelson and Snoop Dogg would have to smoke.
I can't imagine what they talk about. Wouldn't you love to be there? Just
but I wouldn't want to be that high. I don't think. I think I would do like the Don Jameson with David Lee Roth. I would end up walking home. I'm just going home, man.
So it's a good day. It's our Monday. We had a great week last week. We had some great guests.
What a good one coming this week. This week is loaded shows.
This is a great week. We're doing our Corona Monday, and we're going a little different way. We're going with we're gonna have some nurses on and a doctor. We're not screwing around today. So we have some serious stuff to talk about, but we're gonna keep it lighthearted because that is
because it's you and I. How scientific can we get, right?
Yeah, I know. Really,
can we get serious? I don't.
You and me. Well, I do work with, a doctor makes me a physician's assistant. So I have to know.
What are you drinking?
Coors Light.
Coors Light?
I'm trying to keep it mellow because we may get, deep into some conversation tonight. So
yeah, you got to tap the Rockies, buddy.
So that's right. That's what Willie Nelson said. We can go to Colorado. So speaking of Colorado, did you see that there were some where people were going a little nuts this weekend about getting out? They don't want to be.
Was it in Colorado or was it all over? I saw Michigan,
Minnesota, Colorado. There were a few people were going a little crazy, pissed off. They're not in New York, so I guess it's a little different. I mean, here, even where you are, I mean, we're afraid to leave the house, man.
Yeah. And it's what they forget is it's not about them. It's not about them getting sick. It's about them spreading it.
When people say, "Oh, you know what? It's my right." Don't tell. No, it's not your right because people die of a car accident. Yeah, but you're not going to give that to me. I can't catch that from you.
Yeah. I completely agree. It's just a selfish, whining baby, and the irony of it is that I don't want to get into politics, but the irony of it is just like how ridiculous it is that you can be that selfish and not care. I mean, did they have kids or grandparents or parents?
They have to. They have to. I mean, dude, I just talked to a buddy of mine before we came on the air, and his wife was sick, and he took her to get tested. And while he was there, they said, "Well, we'll test you too." And he goes, "No, I'm fine. Don't waste the test." And they go, "No, we'll do it." They tested him. He's got it. He didn't even know. He didn't. He said, "I feel fine." So he could be out infecting people.
Yeah. Because some people it doesn't really carry. Some people it's a death sentence. So it's like do it. I mean, with these people, are they the same people like at World War II when they were asking people to, tighten their belts and recycle the metal and do all that stuff to help the war effort? Would they be out there bitching that it's,
That's why they're the greatest generation, brother.
Yeah. Our generation is not the generation of crybabies and diapers.
Our generation came up with 420. Now,
hey, I'm staying in. 420 is a perfect coronavirus thing because all you're going to do is stay inside, stay away from people, avoid people at all costs. That's what I'm doing when I'm celebrating 420.
Get high and eat.
Yeah, I can stay at home and eat all day.
The other thing I want to talk about is you heard about this small business plan, right? The Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP.
The PPP.
You tried to get, you couldn't get?
Yeah, I started filling out the paperwork and I didn't get it.
Well, they're at it. The money's gone. Yeah. It was $349 billion, as Trump says, billion dollars. I love the way he said that in China. What they did in China. The China virus. Anyway, but they had $349 billion, and it was for small businesses to pay their employees. And a lot of bigger businesses jumped in on it and took money. And I don't know. I think that's a shame. I mean, but the bigger businesses are saying, well, we have offshoots, so people still needed the money. But you think,
aren't they going to get unemployment?
I don't know. You want to hear some of the businesses that did this?
Yeah. These are businesses we should. No more Shake Shack.
Shake Shack, Ruth's Chris.
Oh, come on.
Ruth's Chris, where you and I did a terrible comedy show one time.
Oh, my God. I was so excited to do a show. It was the first time you and I were working together in a long time. I was so excited, and I fucking bombed in front of you so hard.
And I didn't do much better. But so these are big names. Shake Shack, Ruth's Chris, and Soul Joel's Comedy Club in Royersford.
Did you get it? Are you getting unemployment from him?
That bastard!
Come on, man. I'm right here.
Is Mr. Richardson, is this true? Are these
accusations true?
Accusations true?
It's true, but we got denied. Baby.
I feel like I'm an employee for you, and I haven't seen a dime.
Yeah, well, hang in there, buddy. It's not coming either. The check is not in the mail.
Your sister's laughing.
Oh, God.
Joel is now going to turn into every other booker that's out there where he's going to say the check's in the mail and we're going to sit and wait for it.
Oh, yeah. Well, you mean like unemployment, who everything I do to get, they will not answer the phone? And
I can't.
They're talking about, oh, no, unemployment. We have a whole new system. Yeah, the new system is fuck Richie. That's the new system.
All right, I'm out. Have a good show, guys.
All right, thanks.
Both sides of the aisle can agree on one thing. fuck Richie. The left, the right,
Democrat,
they're all coming together.
Independent, communist. We all agree on one thing.
Hell, even the anarchists are in on that one.
Joel's sister wrote, Joel, your Corona haircut looks great. So, we're gonna get started with the show soon. We're gonna talk a little more serious than we normally do. Usually we have a comic on or whatever. But before we do, I want to talk about. We got a little video. We watched one of your shorts the other day. Yeah. I've been doing these. This is an idea I had, and Joel and I came up with. And Joey, we recorded a bunch, and we've been putting them out on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and whatever the hell it goes out on. And we thought we'd bring one here, and it's just a story that I tell about something that happened in my career. And every week we have a different story. And I picked this one because I talk about playing a cop on a show. So let's watch it now, Joe. This is called Dropp'n Names. We're gonna watch
Richie Byrne.
So I played a cop on Law and Order. I was a uniform cop. And it was Criminal Intent, which is the one that nobody watches, the one with Vincent D'Onofrio, which sucks. If I were on SVU, they show that all the time, right? I'd be getting residual checks up the yin yang, right? But no, I get Criminal Intent. I get like 30 cents a year out of Criminal Intent in residual checks. So anyway, I'm playing a cop, and it was the opening of the show, and D'Onofrio and his partner are across the street. There was a murder. It's in warehouse, like a place in Queens with all those different. There's like warehouses and stuff. The whole street is just warehouses. So we're carting everybody off one side. I'm one of the cops keeping everybody back. And across the street is where all the action is happening. And they're trying to figure out if someone yelled, would you hear it across the street? That's the whole point of the opening of the show. So D'Onofrio goes, I think if someone yelled, you'd hear it. And he turns, and from across the street he yells, hey, any of you guys got the time? And they cut to me, and I go, 8:30. That's it. That's my job. I'm done. So all day we're doing it, and D'Onofrio's yelling across the street, any of you guys got donuts? And I'm like so nervous that I'm just, 8:30, no matter what he said. He's like, hey, you want to have sex? 8:30. Like I just kept yelling 8:30. And at one point he even came over to me, he goes, you can ad-lib. So the night the show's going to air, all my buddies, my drinking buddies, we were all going to meet at a bar that we hung out at to watch it. Like this is the big thing. Like all my drinking buddies were going to watch me on Law and Order. So the night it aired, it snowed. We had a snowstorm, really bad snowstorm, and I was worried they were going to preempt the show to talk about the snow. All of my friends braved the snow. They show up. They get to the bar. There's snow. Every guys are slipping and sliding in the street and everything. Everybody comes in. It's freezing. The bar. They open the bar. The show starts. They do the scene. D'Onofrio says, "Any of you guys got the time?" They cut right to me. I go 8:30. Everybody goes crazy. Woo! We do shots. Shot. Blah blah blah. So now the show starts up again. We're all talking. The show starts up again, and all my friends are like, "Shh." I go, "What do you mean?" They go, "We want to." I go, "You want to watch the whole show?" They're like, "Well, we want to watch what else you do." I go, "No, that's it." They're like, "I came out in the goddamn snow for 8:30."
Richie Byrne.
So that's my cop scene.
Dude, people think you're a cop all the time.
All the time. Even
we did a show where the guy, we don't know how this happened. I think Mike Somerville told the story on the show.
Yeah, I think he did. Me, Mark, and Mike Somerville, a great comic, been a guest on the show. We were doing this gig together, and it was some sort of charity event in Bayonne. And Mark had done it before. You'd worked the show before.
Yeah.
It's a yearly event, yearly comedy event. And the thing about those things is whenever you do a show like that, where they do a show once a year, they think they know comedy better than anybody. We're doing shows, 500 shows a year, But you go into that one guy, and he does one show a year where he's raising money, and he's like, I know how to run my show, right? And that's what he was doing. So I got there late, and I was supposed to headline. You were going to open, and Michael was going to middle. And we got there, and the guy's like, yeah, no, Mark's last, you're first, Michael in the middle.
Originally, we were all just going to split the time, split the money. Who gives a shit, right?
And we're like, well, why are you doing it that way? He goes, no, Mark's been here before, so we always put the guy who's been here before last, which is the weirdest. We're like, all right, whatever. And I go, that's not the way we were told the show was going to go. He goes, my show, I know what I'm doing, right? So we start the show, and I'm going first. And he introduces me, and he says, this next guy was a cop, a New York City cop.
Retired New York City cop, and I bet he got some stories for us.
Some great stories about being a cop.
And they play Hawaii 5-0 when you come out.
Hawaii 5-0. And I go on stage, and I go, I've never been a cop except on Law and Order. That's the closest I've ever come to being a cop. What an idiot.
That was so much fun. Detective Byrne, you were wonderful. But speaking of people in the civil service, we have
some great guests today, and because we have people who are dedicating themselves to helping others during this terrible pandemic, and that's what the cops are doing. That's what the firemen are doing. That's what we have two tremendous nurses, old friends of mine, coming out right now, and I'm so happy to have them here. Give it up for Nurse Karen Moskal and Tammy Naroda from Richmond University Medical Center. Come on out, guys. Hi, Tammy.
Hi.
Hi, Karen.
Hey, guys.
Hi, Karen. Karen's having technical difficulties.
You want to hit Karen?
Right here.
Guys, it's so good to see you guys. I gotta ask. So when Richie was your test specimen, and you guys were,
I've known Karen since we're little kids.
No way. How do you guys all know each other?
Karen and my parents were inseparable. Karen's mother and my father grew up across the street from each other. Next door or something. And Karen, I've known Karen since we're both born. You know, nice. She's younger than me, but aside from that, and she became a nurse, and I said, if we're going to talk to nurses, I got to have Karen on because her phone will fuck up and Tammy can answer all the questions.
I'm going to try.
Well, first off, we want to thank you guys for,
everything you're doing.
Yeah, you guys are, going out there selfless, braving the front lines of all this, and that's it's really awesome of you guys.
Thank you.
Now, let me ask you a question before. What you were just telling me off the air that you're working 12-hour shifts.
Right.
And I'm sure what you're seeing, and we'll get into that, it's got to be so hard. And we've had patients, believe it or not, on the show. Two of our friends both ended up in the hospital, almost died. And they talked about how they wouldn't know their doctors or the nurses if they saw them now because you guys are totally dressed in,
hazmat suits.
Hazmat suit. And so that must be so. And then you have to change every time you go into a new patient, I figure. Right?
Well, that's what you're supposed to do. So yeah, basically we're covered from head to toe. Just our eyes are visible. That's about it.
Right.
But because there's such a limited amount of the protective gear, we are wearing the same stuff all day. Yeah. And I have things like I have a whole suit, it's like a one-piece suit from head to toe. It's a Tyvek suit and a gown to go over that. And I take them home, I air them out, I bleach them, I reuse those because we don't have any more.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you had trouble getting the PPEs and all? Have you had trouble getting masks and gloves?
100% trouble. Very difficult. But they've been getting a little bit better. But even though we have the supplies now, they're not telling us normally we'd use one mask for one patient. We're using one mask for days.
Yeah.
I'll throw it away. After one shift, I wear the same mask for the whole entire shift, and I wear another mask over it to protect it. And I throw it away. We're not supposed to. We're supposed to use it until it's, damaged. But it's damaged after one use with one patient.
Yeah, who knows what got on it?
And they're telling us that we have plenty of masks, but that's just not the truth, is it?
It's not the truth. And it's not, because we're supposed to be using, like I said, just one for every patient, then it gets thrown away. And if you have to go in the room 3 times, then you're supposed to be using 3 masks. We just don't have that luxury anymore. Right. But today, I think the mayor was on at Rumsey today, and he had a whole truck delivered from like the Brooklyn Navy Yard. They had a whole bunch of supplies. So we'll see. I'm back to work Wednesday. I'll let you know.
You're hearing stories about, people from China sending over masks, and who what's his name, Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, sent them to New York, and you're like, well, where are they all? Like, what?
Right.
And here's my question. Now we have to wear masks when we go out. This is starting today. Mm-hmm. We have to wear a mask. If you walk into a store, you have to wear a mask. Right. And I went out today. I went for a walk. So, and I don't have a mask, but I had a scarf. I put the scarf on. I had to go into a store, and everybody's got masks, and everybody's got like nice masks. And I'm like, where did you get the mask, and why didn't they have them at the hospital?
100%. When I'm outside shopping in a store or something, and I see somebody with an N95 mask, I'm like, where did you get that?
Yeah,
I don't understand. Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing.
My husband said it with the census. Every time with this, however many people, you have 4 people living in your house, you put the census in, they should send you 4 masks.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Because where do you get them? You really can't get them anywhere, even if you tried to buy them online. There's nothing.
I've been using the census that they send me as a mask. I just take it.
Right. Whatever works.
Karen's back. Hi, Karen.
Oh, now I'm up to 14,000 steps, guys. I'm conservative, but I'm losing weight. That's a good thing.
Kat, you can't see this, but Carl DeFazio says, "What's up to you and me?"
Oh, really?
Yeah. Hi, Carl. There it is. What's up?
Oh, there it is.
Carl. So, so that's a problem. Definitely a problem. Now, is there? How can I put this? I don't want you to really tell us a sad story, but is there a story that defines a moment since you've been working that defines everything that you've been through? Is there something you can think of? And why? What made it different? What was it about that moment that made it different? Is there a patient that you thought was going to die that lived? Do you have anything like that?
Me personally, not with the patients. My defining moment is what we were just speaking about, the protective wear. When we've been taught to use the stuff and throw it away each time, and they are telling us now everything we learned is out the window. We have to reuse it. So the germs, the bacteria, the virus that's on that mask that you were just in with this patient, and now you're going to see another patient, you're taking it with you to see them. So that's like a defining moment for me, that this is not anything that anybody could have prepared for. We're not prepared for this. And it just boggles my mind that this is how we're living now.
It's like a bad science fiction movie.
Yeah.
Say again?
It's like a bad science fiction movie.
Right.
And you tell a little bit, because Karen told me in pre-interview, but what you guys go through to clean up, like when you go home.
Oh my God. Well, my routine's a bit much. I come in through my garage. I take everything off. I take all my stuff that I bring home with me in my bag. Remember I told you the Tyvek.
Your neighbors love it.
And I take that. I take every single thing off, and I run through my house with nothing, and I throw it in the washing machine. My family knows, don't keep all the lights off while I'm running through the house.
And then you jump right in the shower.
Jump right in the shower, yeah. Got to keep the dogs off me. It's really sad. It's really.
Oh, that must be hard.
Yeah, we have to lock the dogs outside because they just want to come and say hi to me. I've been gone out of the house for 13 hours, so it's not easy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank God you have a garage, because I've been doing it on the front porch.
You know, I wasn't using it at first. I was doing this on the front porch, and then I was like, maybe we should open the garage.
The neighbors were so excited. They were
I'm
like,
telling you.
I do
we
that.
need more nurses in this neighborhood.
Well, I do that. My neighbor's like, how long you been a nurse? And I'm like, I'm not a nurse.
Richie's a naughty nurse. I've seen his movies.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you wish? And you probably have answered this. What do you wish people knew? And I think you're going to say that there's not as much mass as they say. But
I wish they
know?
really knew that this is not a joke. This is real. People are literally dying.
Yeah.
And people think that it's just this respiratory illness, but it's not. It could affect your liver, your kidneys, your blood. You could cause blood clots. It could cause blood clots, which is now giving you a heart attack. It can cause you to go, it affects your brain. So then you go crazy. There's so many things, but people I really feel that people are not believing that this is really true. You wouldn't believe it unless you saw it. If you've seen the patients that we see every day in the hospital, you would wear a mask. And you wouldn't be protesting. These idiots that are protesting, they wouldn't be doing it.
I couldn't. Right.
I have a quick question, and I don't know how true it is, and maybe you could help with this. I've heard that it was people get it, and then it stays in their system, and then it resurfaces later. Is that true, or is that a scary? It might be true.
It might be true. It's very funny that you asked that, because the other day I had a patient and he came for something not COVID, not coronavirus. He had an infection where he needed antibiotics in his hands. So, but he had tested positive a month ago. So he was COVID positive. So now I asked the doctor, I'm like, do we treat him as positive? Do we put him in an isolation room? What should we do? I think we should re-swab him. The doctor's like, I don't know. He could have antibodies. He could this. Nobody knows. She says, we don't know at this time. So now a month later, the patient has no more symptoms. We re-swabbed him and he was still positive. Wow. So it's crazy. He said he was so sick. He never was as sick as he was in his whole life to a month ago when he first got sick. He said he was sick for like 10 days and then never had any symptoms, and he's still positive.
Still positive.
So it's crazy. We just don't know enough about it.
Yeah, we really don't.
We don't.
We really don't.
So that's why it's so important to stay home, stay away, just stay in the house and let the scientists figure everything out. Like
are you seeing
on a vaccine or something?
Less people in the hospitals? Has it lightened up? No.
The hospitals, one person leaves, more come. They're putting us over the amount of patients that we normally take care of, and there's not enough staff, and the staff is getting sick. So there's not enough staff to begin with, and now staff is dropping like flies, and now we have to fill in the gaps and take care of more patients. It's really
I know
vicious cycle.
Mark's willing to go in and save the day, right, Mark?
Yeah, I don't need a mask though. I have this mustache that can just cover everything.
Right. There she is.
That's my mother there. Where is Karen? How much she cares about me being on the show. Where's Karen? Hi, Karen. Hi, Brenda. Thank you. Thank you for what you do, Brenda. Thank you.
That's right. Brenda's no joke.
Yeah, none of you. I mean, I'm sorry, Karen, that this didn't work out, but Tammy, you did a great job.
Karen, we'll get you back out. We'll have you back on.
We just couldn't get Karen's phone to really work here. But I thank you guys so much for what you're doing.
Welcome.
Stay healthy, stay safe.
Stay positive.
Yeah, stay positive, and hopefully we'll get to the other side of this sooner than later.
I hope so.
All right.
We'd love to have you back
Thank you
on.
so much.
Give us an update.
Okay.
Yes. Wow.
So that was great. We have Christine Sellers in the
Sellers.
green room. Should we bring her on out?
Bring her out.
Bring her straight out. That'll be.
Hi, Christine.
Hey.
How are you?
Hi.
Christine
I'm
is
well.
an ER nurse. She's been an ER nurse for 20 years at Bryn Mawr Hospital, right? Mainline Health.
Yeah, I'm there now. Mm-hmm.
And you do testing.
Yes.
Well,
yeah, like we're doing like the drive-up testing versus,
Is there
the
do you
inpatient testing.
know anything like what made, like, do you do they say, Christine, we want you to go do testing? Do you say, hey, I volunteer? Like, how does that work? And tell us a little bit about the testing, because I don't know that much about it.
Well, the capacity for the testing was a little bit different when it first started because we were bringing patients into the hospital. And because we didn't know that much about COVID, which is, even still unknown, they would have to close down the rooms and then clean them for like a 4 to 6 hour period. And we were losing a quarter to a third of our rooms. And that's just not possible in an ER. So my good friend, my clinical lead, actually came up with the idea of let's do like a drive-by testing. And they come up to the front of the hospital, they call in, and they get their information, and then we go out with our goggles and our masks and our whole gear, and we test them out there. And
this is a dumb question, but what do you even do for the test? Like, how is it? You swab the inside of their cheek?
No, it's a swab up your nose to kind of like your brain, and it makes their eyes water. It hurts.
That's the one they're still using?
Yeah. And it's the same thing as the flu swab. But at the time that I started doing it, I was doing a flu swab in each nostril, a corona in each nostril, and then a throat swab. Now it's just one swab, and they can run all of that stuff off of the same swab. But at first we didn't. Yeah, we were sending it to like the Department of Health and through Quest, so it was different then. But now it's one, and it's simple, and it's pretty easy.
But it's still the one, because Trump talks about it all the time. How it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant.
It's not pleasant.
It goes up your nose and then makes a right, and I think that's so funny.
If I didn't make your eyes water, I didn't do it right.
Oh. Really?
And I had to swab a cop twice. I felt really bad. I dropped one on the ground. I was like, oops, sorry.
Oh my God.
Did he give you a ticket? And then you're like, yeah, why don't you come in for
the... But he can't remember my face because I had my mask and my cop.
Yeah,
yes.
So I was safe.
Hopefully he's not watching.
I hope.
I mean, her coworker had to swab him twice.
That was another.
Now, are they still only testing people who they think have the symptoms, or is everybody getting tested?
The symptoms have changed from that fever for one day and, the body aches and just all of the symptoms that initially were the case are not the case anymore. So if you have like a loss of taste or you have one of the symptoms, we're testing. But we're not over testing, if that makes sense. We're testing if you have some sort of symptom that just gives us enough leeway to say, we got to rule out COVID. But there's no I always thought it had to be a fever or it had to be this symptom or that symptom. It's not. It's kind of if they think you're going to be admitted to the hospital, they're testing you regardless. And it's a quick test. Because they just need to know where to put you in the hospital because they have floors specific for COVID.
And is it true? And you may not know this, and I apologize if you don't. Is it true that each state has a different test? We're not even on the same page as far as the tests go.
I don't know that answer. I don't know if every state's doing things differently. I know the mandates for what we can do state-wise is different, but I don't know about the testing. I just know at this point, our healthcare system is doing a one swab test. And I know that they can do some sort of saliva test now because I think Rutgers came out with some new testing.
That's what I heard, that there's it's a much more simple test.
Yeah, and it's almost like an immediate turnaround.
Yeah. Yeah, because I got to tell you, there've been a couple of times where I'll cough, and I'll go, oh, and then I heard what the test was, and I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm not I don't want that test, man.
We could get a circus geek to teach you how to do the nail in the nose, and we'll.
Yeah. I know, and they're like, hold it in there for 10 seconds. I said, I'm lucky if somebody is not punching me in the face. I've had to bob.
I'm getting
I've had to bob and weave with people. Yeah, it's tough.
Whoa.
I don't mean to scare anybody, but it's not pleasant.
I'm one of those guys who I can't take a needle. Like if I have to give blood or anything.
Yeah.
I have to
you have
turn.
a tattoo?
What?
Do you have any tattoos?
No.
Never. My
No.
grandfather was a tattoo artist. My great grandfather was, and I will never get a tattoo.
Really?
I like almost vomit when I give blood, and I give blood every year, and I'm like, oh, I can't look. Somebody else do it.
I laugh because all the guys with like all the tats all over their arms, they come in, they're like, oh, I can't do this. I'm like, dude, you had a needle poking at you for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like, you're good.
I'm the guy, I swear to God, I'll go to the doctor. And I had a nurse recently, I had to give blood. And I go, all right, tell me when you're going to do it. Like, I'm like turning and she goes, are you kidding me right now? She goes, you're the biggest wimp I've ever, I go, I'm the worst, man. So when I started hearing about swabs up in my brain, I was like, oh, I'm out. I'll just stay home. I will not leave.
We got a quick shout out. Tim Sullivan's in the house.
I know. I don't know what he's saying there, but yes, Tim's in the house. Hi, Tim.
He just wants to make sure that the Rutgers get their.
I know. Well, he's the Rutgers grad. So,
there you go.
Is there anything? I know I'm being flippant when I say I can't go for the test, but do you think everybody should? Do you think we're at a point? Or do you think it's possible? Is it going to be possible for everyone to be tested?
I kind of wish we could. I don't think there's the capability of I don't think there's enough tests to do that. And I don't think the healthcare systems, even the Department of Health, and I don't think they want that to be the case. I think people, if you think you have symptoms of corona, the COVID, you stay home and you isolate, and you take your due diligence of saying, I shouldn't go out. I don't want to infect somebody that could be compromised, like the people that are diabetic, hypertensive, kidney function. Those are your three majors that are getting the sickest and dying. And so you just have to say, if I have a comorbidity, I should not be out there regardless. If I think I have an ache or pain and I just want to like put it off to the fact that I did too much at home, just stay home. As for like the healthcare workers and such, I feel like it might behoove us to do that, to actually test us, only because maybe we can be the answer to like fixing the problem. Like, is there some way we can help with like a solution? But I don't think we have the testing capability at this point, because there's so many unknowns. Like Tammy said, like we wish we knew more. We wish we had more answers. I wish I could say we're hitting the plateau and we're done with this, but we just don't have those answers because we don't know enough about the disease process that keeps morphing. So,
right.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, and we definitely.
Christine, thank you for doing what you're doing. So important, right, Mark?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, stay out there, stay strong, stay healthy, and keep positive.
And come back when things are better.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for drawing attention to it. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Man, great guest. That was another great guest. These are awesome, and we have a big one coming up.
We have a big one. I'm very excited about this one. I've known her for a while. She is a ER doctor, and she frequently appears on CNN, Fox News. She's a spokesperson for the American College of Emergency Physicians. She has a wellness TED Talk, by the way, which we didn't discuss earlier. She writes The Busy Woman's Guide to Health and Sanity for the Huffington Post. And she's the author of the top-selling book, Mom Hacks. And we have a little intro for her before we bring her out. Let's see the intro.
ER physician Dr. Daria Long is joining us now.
So MS is when your immune system attacks the linings of our nerves. So it's kind of like going in and stripping off the insulation off of electrical wiring.
No donuts during the show, Dr. Oz. Sleep deprivation, it's a form of torture. They use this to break people, at which point I learned two things. One is that I would never be a spy, because I would have given away nuclear secrets to get a nap. So
long time ago.
Any CIA recruiter watching right now is like, cross her off the list.
All right, Richie, were you the one who took care of the donuts that were on set? The donuts from the Dr. Odd show. Was that you? They said, don't touch the donuts. Richie goes,
the set, by the way.
Richie goes, I'll take care of the donuts, guys. Back up.
I am so happy to have her on the show. She couldn't be a better guest, and we're thrilled to have her. Give it up for Dr. Daria Long Gillespie. Give it up.
Yeah.
Hi.
Daria in the house. Where are you?
Hi. I don't know. Can you see me?
The lights are
can you
out.
see us?
I can see you, but my image is. I'm like, that's the CIA we were talking about in that reel. I told you the CIA was looking for me.
Do you have the camera flap on?
You know what you do?
My wife has the camera flap
No.
on all the computers.
But my image down below is frozen on the little thumbnail too. I'm going to try logging out and back in.
All right. Let's
Or stop.
I didn't know she did a TED Talk. We should see if we can find a clip for when we have a follow-up. Show a little clip.
She's amazing.
That's great.
She's amazing. Why we haven't had many problems?
I know
And
today
tonight we
just seems to be. I think it's because of all the heavy-duty traffic of people watching today. Because it's actually informative episode. There she is.
Hi.
She's in the house.
How are
I'm
you?
back. I'm well. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
What?
Technical difficulties.
Yes, it would have been very bad if we had to spend the next 15, 20 minutes talking and all the audience got to see was Mark in my face. That would have been
Y'all are lovely, you know.
If you're in the chubby and hairy, yes.
Well, you're an ER doctor. You work in the ER.
Yep.
And you've seen a lot. What are your biggest concerns right now with this pandemic, with what's going on?
You know, Richie, my biggest concern when we're thinking about this pandemic is making sure that we are, as we start to reopen the economy, that we are being smart about it. I mean, I get it. My own family has small business. People are aching to go back to work, but we have to be really intelligent. We can't just, do this without data. We have to open those places that have the least amount of disease and have hospital capacity and the most important roles. We have to prioritize that. If you don't do that, we're all going to end up rebounding and coming back exactly where we were.
Daria, do me a favor. Explain flattening the curve a little bit, because we hear it all the time.
Everybody mentions it. Nobody describes what it means.
Nobody really understands. So
yeah. Yes. And I swear, everybody has become like an armchair statistician right now. It's like flattening the curve. And then there's these trends of like, I crush the curve. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, that does not mean what you think it means. It doesn't exist. So flattening the curve means essentially what we were saying is that we're not eradicating the disease. There's no crushing this disease, but that we're taking, say, 10,000 people were going to get sick from it and going to need an ICU. We're spreading those 10,000 people out over 6 months as opposed to 2 weeks. So that was the point. The entire point of flattening the curve was saying, here's a number of people who are sick. We've got to keep that underneath our hospital capacity, because when that happens, the mortality rate is just under 1%. When we exceed hospital capacity, then we get what we're seeing in Italy, where they're rationing ventilators in really scary situations. That was the point. So you have to know that was the point. It wasn't to eradicate this virus. The virus is still going to be there when we start releasing and lowering the social requirements.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting what you said, because I think people thought, if we all stay in, the virus will just die.
It'll go away.
That's not really what they were saying.
No. And it doesn't mean that this was wasted time. So again, part of it was to buy us time as well. So, we said part of the point of flattening the curve was to keep it under the hospital capacity. Second was buy us time. When this disease first came out, we have never seen this before. We didn't know what treatments were going to work, what kind of ventilator settings were going to work, who was going to get sick. We know so much more now, 6 weeks later. We can better treat people. And then there's a third thing called the inoculation dose. And that just means that if everybody gets sick all at once and you go to the grocery store and everybody's sick, you have more chance of getting sick in the first place, and you'll get more severely ill. If after flattening the curve, we spread that out, you go to the grocery store, one person's sick, maybe 2 people are sick, you're less likely to be exposed. And if you do get sick, your immune system can probably fight it off better. That's why we flatten the curve. Just people need to know it. It's a really big difference. You can know what to expect.
I don't think they've made that clear. And that's a great point. If we all walk in a store and we're all and there's so many people infected, it's going to be worse. But if there's a smaller amount, you could get it, but you're not going to get it to the level. That's what you're saying?
Exactly, Richie. You should be like a public health expert. You got this. So
well, I am a physician's assistant. I'm
you are a doctor. Exactly. And there was actually one really cool study. It was a small study. They just looked at people, but they said that there's this one person and they're sick. If you live in the house with them while they're convalescing, you have like a 75% chance of getting sick. But say you run into that person in the store, but you spend less than 15 minutes face to face with them, then your risk of getting sick is less than 5%. So contact, it doesn't mean you were exposed, you're sick. It's actually much more of a continuum, and flattening the curve helps that.
Interesting. Tell me about masks. Tell me why it's become even more important now that everybody wear a mask when they go out. Why is that?
So we know that this virus is spread in droplets, and there was this video. It was a study that I saw the other day, and they'd actually videoed somebody's spit coming out under like UV light. It really makes you rethink like close talking Carl in your office. It's like, back up, dude. But it actually showed like, when we are close, like we really are sharing air, we're sharing molecules, and the virus can be spread on that. So the thought is that when you are wearing a mask, then you decrease the amount of molecules that are going back and forth, and those molecules of those water droplets can carry the virus. So that's the point of the mask. And thought being, even if it's just a cloth mask, that will help somewhat in decreasing. How much just a simple cloth mask helps? I know, Richie, you mentioned just a scarf. We still need to do more studies on like exactly what these masks should be. But the thought is that they will help.
Like
better than nothing.
Yeah,
it is better than nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Richie's scarf.
Well, I'm sure Richie looks very dapper in his scarf.
It's
You're
an ascot.
fancy.
I wear an ascot. I wear a top hat. It's amazing. Now,
Even has a monocle for no reason. But
let's talk about testing. I've heard that 30%, and I've just heard this, and I don't know that it's true, but I've heard that 30% of the tests are false negatives. Is that true?
So it's probably true. They're not releasing the exact accuracy of the tests, which makes it a little bit of a guessing game for those of us trying to practice medicine amidst this pandemic. But it's probably that, and there's so many different tests, but for the virus test, now there's two different kinds of tests. There's a test that say you are sick right now with coronavirus. That's the virus test. It's about 70 to 80% accurate. So yeah, about 20 to 30% miss rate. That's different from the antibodies test though. So just keep them separate.
Okay.
So Dr. Dart, how do we get you to explain flattening the curve to the entire country so we can stop having Facebook fights?
Yeah.
You know, Mark, if I could solve social media Facebook fights, we would have solved so many things beyond
You'd be
COVID.
queen. You'd be queen.
Yeah, but that is what I'm trying to do. I realize that there are people with so many questions, and I try to answer as much as I can on CNN and places like that. But I realize that answering questions on Instagram has actually been one of the best ways. So people can post questions to me, and then I answer them either in a story or in a video. And you can tell because people will tag somebody, at Jamie Jones, Mom, you need to read this. And I'm like, I feel like I just got pulled into an Instagram fight. I feel like I did.
We need to flatten the Twitter curve. That's what we need to do.
Have you
doing my best.
Being in the hospital, have you seen, there's been talk, we had a friend who was on our show from his hospital bed, and he was near death, and he was taking the hydroxychloroquine, and then they switched it to chloroquine, and that's what he feels saved his life. And I've heard other stories about people doing the hydroxychloroquine and the Z-Pack. And is there anything, is there any real belief in this? I know that Trump has been pushing it, but I know Fauci, being the scientist that he is saying, we don't have all the facts on this. Is there anything that they really feel is helping people who are sick?
So there are a number of things that we do think are helping. And hydroxychloroquine is one that might be. Remdesivir is another one that might be. They're looking at other antiviral medications and also different ways of using ventilators and using breathing therapies. So There are a number of things. It's just that we're in the middle of many trials. So a lot of physicians, a lot of hospitals are trying different medications to see what works. And each of them has promising findings and some of them have questions that we're not entirely sure. We won't know for sure until these trials complete. So otherwise we're getting kind of anecdotal, like your friend saying, yes, this helped, and somebody else saying, no, they didn't get better. We'll know better once we get these trials complete, which is why I don't want us anchoring on any one drug. Let's keep trying all of them. Let's figure out which one works the best.
Right. Because there's no way we're not going to have an antidote for a while, right?
We won't, but we're learning so much every day, every week. They're learning about rolling patients over and having them lay on their, prone on their stomach in just different ways. We're learning about how this works. So yes, there is no magic button. But I would say that every 2 to 3 days, every day practically, I'm reading a new study of some slight discovery or something that's promising. So people really need to know that it's been amazing that we've gone from zero, never having heard of this virus in December, that we're now, I'm looking at my calendar, that's 5 months ago. I feel like I've aged in dog years. We probably all do. That we're now learning how to treat it and talking about vaccines. That's really fast to have done that. So it's promising.
And one more question, because this kind of hits close to home. We have lost, especially 3 friends, none of them to the virus, as far as we know. 2 of them had heart issues in the past, and one had an embolism of some sort, right, Mark? Is that what?
Yeah, aneurysm, I think.
Now I'm hearing stories that the heart is affected. I'm hearing stories that people are having strokes. And so are there more causes of death from the virus than we thought initially? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, Richie, and I'm really sorry to hear about that. That's awful in any time period.
Yeah.
I think there's...
Sorry, it was strange because it was all in a week. And I kept saying, oh my God, none of them died from the virus.
But now I do have it also in my head that I don't think they went to get treatment as soon as they should have because they were too afraid to go to the hospital.
Great, Mark. It's so funny. I was going to have Daria talk about that too.
On a super, a roundabout way, it is kind of virus related because I'll let the doctor talk because she'll know better.
Mark, you're right. So I was going to make 2 points. One, it's possible that they may have had COVID. The reality, and states are trying to change this. The federal government is trying to change this for logging. But up until this point, if someone passed away and their COVID test, say we had drawn a COVID test on them, but it took 3 to 5 days, they passed away, the medical certificate was completed, and the COVID test wasn't back yet, you wouldn't have been able to write COVID on there. So they would have not associated that death with COVID. So we were definitely, and probably still are, absolutely underestimating deaths that are associated with COVID. But then, so that's the first point. Then to Mark's point, we have seen in the ERs that are, 30 to 50% drop in terms of people who are coming in with heart attacks, appendicitis, stroke, and suicide, depression. And I'll tell y'all, our heart attacks don't care whether it's COVID season or not.
Yeah.
So what this tells me is that people are staying home and delaying care. We're seeing that. People are coming in later, days after their heart attack happened or days after their appendicitis started, which means that they're going to have worse complications and more likely to pass away even from this. So that's something that really scares me. People need to be seeking care and not delaying care because they are worried about the COVID threat.
Absolutely. Daria, thank you so much. You've been so informative. Now listen to me. Here's the thing. This is normally a comedy show.
Yes.
And we've even had a couple of comments on the side saying, oh, where's the comedy? But we want to go out with a bang here. And I want you to tell the story about that woman that you were working on and that you told me yesterday. So, Mark, listen to the story. I love talking. I can talk to doctors all day.
People always come up to when they find out you're an ER doctor. They're like, so what's the weirdest thing you've ever seen? I'm like, dude, you don't want to know what the weirdest thing is I've ever seen. And then I tell them the third weirdest so I don't gross them out.
You're too nice of a person. I usually ask, what's the weirdest thing you pulled out of somebody's butt?
You know, in most contexts, I shouldn't answer that. On this show, I probably could. But to my earlier
She's
point,
coming back. She's coming back.
I did used to live in Boston.
Ask that question as he's bent over in the room. But anyway,
Gentlemen.
This isn't the weirdest thing, right?
As a medical professional, I'm going to advise you to stay in your seat, Mark. So, you know, to the point of delaying care, I just do have to share one anecdote. I lived in Boston for many years, and we used to always joke during a Patriots game, nobody came in. And so the joke was like, you can't have a heart attack during a Patriots game, which just goes to show that people will delay care for Tom Brady and COVID. And that's a problem. So, Richie, I know you wanted me to tell you this story and share this story, right?
Yes.
So this is from back when I was just like a wee second-year resident, and it was my first time on the trauma service, and I was supposed to be running. An elderly woman had come in, had in a bad car accident, and so when there's a trauma like this that comes in, there's one resident. It's their job to go from top to bottom, that their airway is, their airway is intact, that they're breathing, that their blood pressure is okay. And that was my job. Everyone else is supposed to be very quiet and listen to me go. My heart was pounding. I was petrified. So I go to this lady and I check her airway. And then I go and I put my stethoscope right here on her chest. And I say, ma'am, take 2 big breaths. And she says, what? And I said, big breaths, big breaths. And she said, oh, honey, they used to be.
That is Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling.
Thank you so much, Daria.
Last call. Thanks for listening to Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling.